At last.
The king's back and the throne's mine. The future's here and it's my time. Straight shot, going for the head with it. Take his head off and say that I did it. Good riddance. Say hi to the bad guy, I'm back in business. If you took what's mine, I'm back to get it. There's nothing you can do, I'm back with vengeance. Now turn me loose. Now turn me loose.
At last.
The king's back and the throne's mine. The future's here and it's my time. Straight shot, going for the head with it. Take his head off and say that I did it. Good riddance. Say hi to the bad guy, I'm back in business. If you took what's mine, I'm back to get it. There's nothing you can do, I'm back with vengeance. Now turn me loose. Now turn me loose.
At last.
The king's back and the throne's mine. The future's here and it's my time. Straight shot, going for the head with it. Take his head off and say that I did it. Good riddance. Say hi to the bad guy, I'm back in business. If you took what's mine, I'm back to get it. There's nothing you can do, I'm back with vengeance. Now turn me loose. Now turn me loose.
At last.
The king's back and the throne's mine. The future's here and it's my time. Straight shot, going for the head with it. Take his head off and say that I did it. Good riddance. Say hi to the bad guy, I'm back in business. If you took what's mine, I'm back to get it. There's nothing you can do, I'm back with vengeance. Now turn me loose. Now turn me loose.
At last.
Hey, hold on, me. Sorry, I had a little feedback on my end. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is just representing for the Gray Pill Podcast. We're gonna have like a little mini chill conversation. Let me pin the. I'm going to pin the link in there. So I was over there at Jedi Mike 7's platform where he discussed movies, news, and review, and he was doing like an update on if anybody a Star Wars fan, he was talking about the new Star Wars Ahsoka that's on HBO, which became HBO Max, which is now Max, which is very weird and silly. Very good conversation over there. So check out my boy Jedi Mike. And at the end of it, I have remembered I actually took the time out to finish watching and digesting the movie, The Flash. I wasn't very happy with the movie. Yeah, well, I wasn't very happy with the movie. Yeah, thank you, Disney Plus. I wasn't very happy with the movie. So it's pretty much going to be a chill channel for the casual conversation. But I am low key petty about the movie. Let me just go ahead and pin this up before I just get into my rant. Man. Yeah, it is doo doo. All right, I'm putting up the link now. You don't have to cam up, but it is preferred. You don't have to cam up, but it is preferred. Especially if I don't know you. I'm gonna see if I can save lives tonight. Let me see if I can save lives because there you go, Jumpy. It's not. I don't expect him to be hopping on this now. I'm gonna put my dust. Yeah, go handle your business, Jumpy. Go handle your business. Make sure the audio of me is not nowhere near your child because I might get a little bit loud. I don't want to wake her up with the rant. All right. Was it like a month ago, Jedi Mike? I don't know. It was like a month ago, somewhat like that. You did a reaction to it, so I'm pretty much 100% with Mandrill on the assessment at the beginning because that's how I felt. Was like, look, I watched the movie. I barely struggled through it. I kind of went to sleep on it twice. Like 30 minutes in, the part where Batman. Oh, okay, cool. You got a good child. Your child gonna do well in the future. Your child gonna have be a millionaire, successful careers, and enough money to pretty much take care of dads. So I can see this in your future, with your child. God bless your child. Your child's a very wise one already, and it's a child. God bless your child. Oh yeah, so saw the movie. It wasn't it. I'm sorry. Wally made a comment earlier today saying like he said it was I'm pretty much paraphrasing you, Wally. You said it was okay or good. I think it was below average. I don't know what we think is good. I'm not gonna do the weird YouTube talking points and dissect each word you say, but I get you. I rank it a 3. Like, prove me wrong. Give me if you think it's a 5. If you think it was 50 for 50, prove me wrong. I think the part where Mandrill said, "Hey, you know what? For him to be Batman and going through the crazy car chases where his body was getting bruised down the street chase was ridiculous. I never known Batman to go through that much bumps and bruises. He might get like a one-hit swipe from the Joker, with a cut or stab. He might get some bumps and bruises where he evading, not even really bumps and bruises, where he actually might take the time out to sacrifice himself to avoid some major stuff. That might happen. I see Jedi. Like, give me a second, man. I'm gonna finish getting out my rant monologue about this poo poo movie. So I see that of Batman. Then there was a part where Wonder Woman at the last minute came in with the lasso of truth, grabbed Batman, and had Batman's hand tangled up with the bad guys. That didn't make any sense. Like, the accuracy on her was so off. And I'm sitting there like, how Batman's hands get tangled up with the villain, with the bad guy too. And then he's weirdly trying to struggle to get his hands out. And then moving forward, which I pretty much at that point, I kind of remembered I saw that part of it. So I went back struggling. the Flash and the scene where the slow motion scene when he's trying to help the baby save all the babies and how he saved the babies. Like he had one baby in the microwave, and then one baby here, one baby there. Then just the whole part of him meaning his quote unquote, I guess, past self / doppelganger self. Hey, what's going on? LTTV. Then it was the whole every moment with him and his doppelganger self. Yeah, it's a little after party. I'm pretty much venting about. I saw the movie Flash. So if you got kids, Moxie, or got little nieces and nephews, never bring them to see that movie. I'm trying to help everybody now. Don't bring them to see that movie. All right, I'm bringing Jedi Mike up because I don't want to keep him too long.
Hey,
what's going on, man?
Hey, listen, I won't be long though.
Yeah.
But I would say this. After watching, I said Blue Beetle. I said it in my review on my Instagram. And I said on my YouTube as well. Fuck the Flash. After watching Blue Beetle, because now I had the privilege of seeing both these films early, so my perception was not swayed by any type of popular opinion, whatever. Which is one of the perks of being a film critic going to a press screening. It's like I don't go there to see a movie, go to see a movie early. So I saw it early. I see it early so that I don't be swayed by massive social media people saying, "Oh, it's bad" or "it's good," whatever. I just have my own opinion. I'm blind, but what I'm saying, with this film, what to me, what hurt this film a lot was a lot of reshoots, especially also powers that be, also with Ezra. What situation I was going on with him, but again,
no spoilers for me because I haven't. Like, you can give your opinion, but just no spoilers for me for Blue Beetle. I haven't seen it yet because I remember
I'm talking about Flash. I didn't mention about Blue Beetle, but
okay.
But what I'm saying was fortunate. What is sad though is that the next film, the few films for DC, and the only one that got left is Aquaman, and that's going to do poorly as well, just because publicly perception with DC right now, it's like they have perception. Well, I don't care because everything's irrelevant in this movie. And James Gunn said it before this movie came out with the Flash that the Blue Beetle will continue, but everything else is be a reset. So it kind of hurt that. Plus, this film had a lot of press screenings or fan screenings before the film came out. So when it came out, it was a financial box office bomb because of the fact that you basically show everyone the film for free. And with this film, it's like, well, if I already saw it once, do I have to really watch it again? No. Especially you can wait for HBO Max to come on and everything, which is I think is already on there or about to be on there in a couple of weeks. But
you talking about the Flash or the Blue Beetle?
It's the Flash.
Well, it's already up there. That's how I watched it. That's literally only reason I took the time out to go through it because it came up.
But I will say with this, would end off with Blue Beetle is like it might be like a C-list character, but just the tone of that movie to me is what the DC universe is supposed to be. It had heart, it had legacy in the film. Yes, you have some comedy that you can roll your eyes over, like whatever. It might not be for everybody, but I'm saying if that's the tone moving forward, that's what I want because everyone's trying to be like Batman when you don't need to be Batman. And when I like I said, I grew up, and I'm speaking for half of everybody else. I grew up on Justice League cartoons. I just grew up on Batman animated series, and to a lot of people, the heart of DC of their fan for DC is in the animated world, right? But unfortunately, what Flash missed it was the fact that in the grand scheme of things, we think that Flash is a popular character. To us, it is, but it's not. Just because you have a 9-season on CW show that's going on does not mean that the Flash is a marketable character, or at least that popular of a character, right? But and also when you're in your biggest selling point, which is DC been riding the coattails for Batman for like 20 years, and the fact that this selling point for people is like, well, I just want to see Michael Keaton come back, not really for Ezra. It's just unfortunate because I'm not trying to go see the movie for the main character in the name of the movie. I'm here to see Batman again. And that's the point. It's just like you have a movie that can't stand on its own and actually have a good story behind it, and that's really where it fails. But for me, at the second act of the film, I felt like really like the relationship with him and his mom. I felt that was to me, and the whole message of the movie for me is why I think it comes from a biased position because I just know the character, which is why like Flash is one of my most favorite characters because he's so relatable. So I relate
Yeah.
to, being having moments where you don't want to where you can't change the past as much as you want to, and some things and the message of the movie saying, "Hey, not everything requires an answer. There shouldn't be an answer for everything, right?" And sometimes in our lives, we waste a lot of time, pun intended, of just letting the past die, and it goes to the message of the Flashpoint comic in this movie that you have to accept the things you can't change and know things you can't, and have the wisdom to know the difference, right? And I think the fact that they did something unique was have a younger Barry, um, basically contrast the older Barry, with basically where the older Barry had to see a reflection of himself to realize, oh my God, what have I done? Because everybody was telling him, even Bruce Wayne was like in the beginning of the movie, like, listen, you can't change the past because you can destroy everything. But then it only took him at the end of the movie where he's like, his younger self was like, no, 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 we can change everything. We can fix it, right? And like, no, you can't. This is what Bruce been telling me about. So now at the end of the movie, it was full circle for him to reach a level of maturity as a character because that version of the Flash, which I don't like Ezra Miller's the Flash, but he is an immature character.
Yeah.
So to me, I felt that was a coming age for him at the end, was like telling his younger self, not every the very message that his mom was trying to tell him when he was a kid, and that what Bruce was trying to tell him in the beginning of the movie. That, and which is something that we all can take from um in life, that, hey, listen, we have not everything requires an answer to every situation. Some things is what it just is, and we have to accept that and move forward, right? And then when
Mhm.
we're trying to live in the past and try to change things when we really should let it go, we end up creating more problems than we did before we started. So that's what I'd say I took out of it watching this movie, to me, where it touched me. But again, that's not for everybody, and I'm just saying, to me, like, there is a message in that film. However, there's a lot of other things that was complicating it, behind the scenes too, and multiple different endings and stuff like that. But again, one, not capitalizing on the grander scheme of the DC universe of a true Flashpoint comic. For comic nerds, it's like, listen, we have a better story, and we do have it. That's
Yeah.
the better story is not touched at all. We still can look up HBO Max and look up at was it Justice League Flashpoint Paradox, and we can
Yeah.
still watch it. It's on, and regarded as one of the best stories DC Comics of all time. And maybe in 5, 10 years time, whatever, they can actually do an accurate adaptation. They could, because they did the same thing with X-Men. They did Dark Phoenix twice, even though it sucked twice. But
Mhm.
so they can do this story again.
My issue, I agree with everything you said. It's like, but I want to like I feel like some parts got to get picked from for me. Like the person said, "Hey, the lesson, right?" His mom explained. Like I get it. That's literally part of, like, you literally said, "Hey, I'm chewing the meat and spitting out the bones for that story," and I get the message of it. Most of that, for like the message of the ending and what Bruce said, for some reason, I feel like it was dragged out to the whole duration of the movie. It's
I understand.
yeah. When are you going to get? I think that's pretty much like it went over my head just a little bit because it was too silly, too goofy. I was looking more of the actual original Flash. We could say the animated Flash from the cartoons. We could say just a comic version. Those two Flash would have been perfect. I wouldn't even recommend WB Flash because that would just like maybe the first two seasons, maybe, but I wouldn't even use those as a good representation of like, hey, how you learn your lesson, because it's like every season from the WB Flash, every day he's learning a lesson, and I'm like, where are we going with this? Because like he had like either a problem beginning, another problem here, and it's like, okay, you had this grand like G.I. Joe type message at the ending of the show, which is like, okay, when are you going to get mature? That was my whole issue with the WB Flash. But as far as the movie goes, I feel like we're living like 2023. There should be no excuse of just like, okay, we got so much source material, it's like decades worth to like find out exactly who this Flash is. Yes, if you want to start off quote unquote Flashpoint from the movie now, okay, here's the source material. You got the animation, bring it to both, and then take that moving forward. I even get the part about, I would even accept the younger version being the more mature, the immature one, acting as goofy as is, and this Flash should be at least more mature. Like you can still be kind of like the comical Flash, even to the point where maybe miss the superheroes think you not mature as you are, because that's how pretty much everybody deemed even the adult Flash. Okay, he does like some slapstick humor, but they don't think he's that mature. But they know when it's time to be hero, he acts mature. You know what I'm saying? Like they know we can
Right,
count on that Flash.
but the thing about this is that like I'm working, I've been working a lot, as you know, like in the behind
Yeah.
the scenes and stuff, but it turns I'm really working on doing a video essay on the side, but I'm going to do a stream probably this Saturday, um, on superhero fatigue, right? Because on top of this, there's another thing that's a factor to this is that having another generic story that the audience is not resonating to. We have seen so many films, comic book films, to the point where we see these tropes not done to the best of their ability, and then to the point where some part where the plot becomes predictable, right? And
Mhm.
also, we've seen films where you have currently in the last 5 years now, these comic book movies are now making 10 or like twice their budget than that they're making to make these films, but yet they're only getting half of its return, like and barely even breaking even, which is a problem. And just because you're throwing a bunch of money, which this film costs about almost 350
Yeah, I think both.
million.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong. This one, I feel like a good bulk of their money is more into the CGI, because you had like what 2, 3 versions of Superman. I know the OG Batman couldn't do a lot of physical work, but I seen a lot of CGI there. You had Zod and guys, Zod and his the villains there. Like I seen a lot. I say maybe 75% more CGI than just actual acting.
No. So the problem was with this, because this film was delayed multiple times. There's different scripts and rewrites to this, and the visual effects artist literally came out and basically stated if the film looked like the visual effects were made a week ago, it's because it was.
Mm.
That's literally because of the fact that they were reshooting even at the end. Like there's shots of Ezra that's all visual effects, not because like it was they just poured a lot of money and they just doing there and they weren't doing what they're supposed to do because they kept changing everything. Like even at the end, the whole thing with George Clooney and all that stuff like that was all CGI. Like even how like Ezra's hair look and all that stuff like that,
Yeah,
they filmed that in April when the movie came out in May. So there's a whole other factor that's into this as well. But the problem is this is that in the story, as a comic book fan, is that you can't tell superhero films the way you used to anymore. You just can't
yeah,
now just go move in terms of throwing out 300, a quarter of $1 billion to make these films, right? 250 million or more, right? And calling a good day, saying you'll get returned. There's no more just throwing an Avengers movie out there anymore because fuck all of them. Nobody cares about these characters anymore because of now, since the pandemic, really after 2019, there's been over a position of quantity over quality on both spectrums, both
mm,
Marvel and DC, which is why when DC come out, unfortunately, they have not built the credibility of having a continuing thread. So now you're just seeing these films as individual pieces, as you should, because then you actually can critique and say, what is good or bad. If you look at the beginning of Phase One, what is the one movie that everyone keeps talking about in Marvel? Iron Man.
yeah,
Nobody go back talk about, man, I love that Incredible Hulk film. Or I love that, the first Avenger movie. Not saying it was god awful, but just
yeah.
saying the fact they had one movie and you had a continuing thread, and that's why they're able to pass through all the rest of the other movies before they got into the Avengers to the point that you can actually say, listen, that movie by itself might not have been my top of my radar because I like Iron Man and because it connects to Iron Man. I'm actually going to give this film more of a higher score than I would if I just judge it on a standalone basis. That is
Do you think?
why some of these DC films currently right now are getting terrible ratings because they're viewing them as individual pieces and nothing connected because there is nothing to connect them.
I agree with that. So, do you think like Blue Beetle might be a continuing thread from what you saw of the movie?
To threat from what? For
Well, it could be home base for his own, because I mean, just like going back, you had pretty much you had the original Blade. Then from Blade, it kind of started off a whole chain reaction, but that was on Marvel side, and then from Jesus, I don't even know if they have one. Like I'm really thinking hard, but I feel like it can start one from its own, like how Iron Man did, because nobody really don't know who Blue Beetle is. Because for me, I figured when Blue Beetle first came out, it'll just be a great movie. But for me, the trailer didn't feel good for me because I
Well, I'll say
know,
this. I'll say this.
yeah,
I'll give you the answer. One, I did not like any of the trailers for Blue Beetle. Not
I didn't
like
need.
any single one of them. And I was going into this movie thinking I was not going to like it, and I was absolutely surprised. And I said this, and this is, and I quote this to me when I saw Blue Beetle. To me, it was one of the best DC stories I've seen since Matt Reeves' The Batman. 'Cause think about it. You saw Black Adam, you had Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and you had the Flash. Both I put all that beneath Blue Beetle.
Wow.
And the reason why I put that is because uh not only because of just terms of story of just having a smaller base story and more of kind of more not more galactic story and not trying to like, oh yeah, we need to save the freaking universe, whatever. No, it's just a story about family and this particular character, Jaime Reyes, who is a C-list character, and it's surprising how DC are doing better jobs with more obscure characters than their top A-listers. That makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me that you're doing a better job writing full-fledged character on a C-list character instead of doing a better job on making a fucking Superman character or a Flash or a Green Lantern. It makes no sense. So with Blue Beetle, I'm saying that the continuing thread is that character in the film. When you watch it, it has you might have some references to the icons like a Superman or a Batman or a Flash, but it's not like, oh, the events of that movie connects to this. No, none of that happens. But what James Gunn said was that character Jaime Reyes in this film will continue on in the DC universe. However, because the events of his movie is so standalone that it does not affect anything else around it. And you see the ratings of this film. Like the film is good. It's not the best thing ever. I'm not even saying it's like it's like Todd Phillips Joker or anything. But I'm saying
Mhm.
compared to what I saw this year, I put Spider Verse, I put Guardians of the Galaxy, and I put Blue Beetle, and then Flash in that order.
Jambi, what's your thoughts on the Flash movie, sir?
I feel like the whole DCEU is doo doo butter, man. And I'm an independent comic guy. And now my nerd card has officially been pulled. I've been I've been outed. I'm a nerd, man. But my issue with DCEU is they didn't give us the flashpoint that comic book fans deserve. I hear a lot of like, I like this, but we were waiting for like that flashpoint paradox, something similar to what we got in the animated series.
Yeah.
And what I saw was DC competing once again with Marvel, who has already laid out their platform. They have already laid out what they're going to do for the next 10 years. And you got DC. The last one was Black Adam. I'm gonna call it what it is. That was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the multiverse of madness Endgame. You know.
I couldn't stand that movie so
It
much
was-
to the point. I when somebody said it was pretty much connected to Jedi Mike because he does movie news and review, and he explained more about his channel. He's been a guest here when we had we was literally covering
Nice
Amber
to meet you,
Turd.
Jedi Mike.
We was covering
again?
Amber. He was saying nice. Jimmy was saying nice to meet you.
Nice to
we was
meet you, man.
we was covering Amber Turd, and he had like a lot of good insight on the conversation because a lot of it based around the movies. We had Robbie on; she was covering most of the legal part, and I just pretty much just mostly supporting them because they had more insight sources on it. But somebody from his end actually brought up and said, "Hey, I thought Black Adam was good." I instantly got triggered because there's
That was Rob B.
nothing there.
No, that was Rob B. But here's the thing.
That was her.
This is the
Oh,
But here's the
I
problem. Like he made a good point talking about comic book, but you have to understand they're not selling us anymore because we're gonna be watching this because we are comic book fans, right? But the problem is that whole Flashpoint storyline that you're talking about, that was the story about 5 years ago until they changed everything because there was conversations about Jeffrey D. Morgan coming back as Thomas Wayne Batman. He was on Jimmy Fallon saying, "Hey, I'll come back," and what if they do that? But that was the first initial story. When they're writing the script, they went over about about 4 or 5 different directors. This was prior to Zack Snyder's Justice League, but then after everything got course correct, they were like, "Nah, we're gonna throw this away," and then they were to keep delaying the Flash. Because remember, the Flash movie was announced in the same week as episode 2 of CW Flash season 1, and the movie did not come out until Flash's at the end of Flash's 9th season.
But I think that's the problem with DCEU. They don't listen to their fans, like at all. Like at least we can say Marvel panders. Marvel will put out something that their fans are asking for if they push hard enough. I'm more of a Nolanverse guy when it comes to Batman. I think the Flashpoint paradox could have fit with the Batman Doomsday Visions, Desert, all that. They could have remixed it so many different ways to actually please some fans, man. I feel like it was just a copy and paste of what Marvel Cinematic Universe has been doing. And I personally am tired of Marvel Cinematic Universe, you know? But I just can't agree with the Flash or Blue Beetle being like, they should have been directly to Netflix, in my opinion. I don't think those should have been those were major flops. Like even creatively, man, as much CGI went into that for it to look like that, man, that did not sit right with me as a nerd, because I thought we were past that. I mean, you brought up Blade. That's what they were doing with like Blade 2. Remember when Wesley was too old to do the backflips and stuff?
Yeah.
They did like this scene in front of the lights. And so I'm now in 2023, it's the same thing, multiplied times 20. I can't get down with the new DCU right now. I think they need a complete reset. I think dropping Cavill was crazy. I don't know. I don't understand what that's about, but like, it wasn't the Flashpoint, man. You know,
I can explain that for you.
Huh?
I can explain that for you. Like,
Right.
So to the point we talk about being straight to TV, Blue Beetle was supposed to be on HBO Max.
Right.
It was originally created to be supposed to be on HBO Max along with Batgirl, but the problem was that Batgirl became a tax write-off, and they thought Blue Beetle was actually a good story that they actually wanted to make it into a film. Now, for me, if they actually put this on Max, it would actually be a really good show, a really good film for an HBO Max show. But my point is just really on the character itself, that as an addition to the DC universe, I thought that what they did was a really good job. But the problem with Cavill is that Cavill was solely connected to Snyder, and Warner Bros. Did not want a Snyder at all. Because what happened is the fact they responded reactively and saying, well, because Batman vs. Superman was so dark, then we have to course correct midway while they were shooting David Ayers' Suicide Squad, which is when you're hearing reports right now saying, hey, listen, my version of the Suicide Squad, we had Jared Leto Joker longer in the film. It was also going to be a different type of story and stuff like that. But no, the studio course correct. They made that to a fucking comedy. The first Suicide Squad.
Question real quick, because I was thinking about Lois Lane Superman.
Superman Lois.
Not the new one, but the last one, because I finished watching
Amy Adams.
Yeah, and I saw the ending of season 3 where he did this whole Doomsday fight. So it's not gonna be another version of that. So they're moving forward with a new version of Lois and Superman, or whatever it's called.
No. So Superman Lois is they got greenlit for another season, but I'm guaranteeing you after that season they played out, because half the cast are now no longer what's it called, season regular. They'll be in the season but won't be there for every single episode. And they cut that budget in half because they're preparing for a clean slate, because James Gunn said, I'm controlling movies, TV, and gaming, which I don't know how the hell you can do gaming, because gaming has a whole bunch of delays and all that stuff like that. But yeah, he said he's controlling all that, which is why, the Flash, Titans, Doom Patrol, all this stuff get canceled out of the blue, because they're trying to get a clean slate and say they want everything to be consistent. Now, there's potential to do that. However, this is the problem that us as the fans, we have to be patient about, is that Superman Legacy is now preparing to be one of the most important comic book films in history in 2025 when it comes out, because it has nothing to do not just being a good Superman movie, it's establishing an entire universe. And the problem that the DC universe or DCU did not really establish, didn't have one good film for everyone to say, you know what, I can go back and say this is the film I I want to keep going back to like a Iron Man. Can everyone keep referencing Iron Man after how many years? It's the same thing. They don't have their Iron Man film where it's set the tone for that entire universe. So when it's end up happening is that, let's say for example, Superman Legacy come in and it flops. Then what it is? The DC universe over, they're gonna have to reboot again. They can't.
Yeah, they can. They will. They absolutely will. They
No, because
absolutely will.
No, this is an example about you. For example, let's say like you're a businessman, right? And like
Right.
you're creating a type of product or invention, and they make the one not the saying that, hey, it might take about 2 or 3 years for us to make a profit. That's exactly what's going to happen with DC. The fact that the film's going to come out and people going to be like, oh yeah, this movie going to suck and blah blah, until actually no, this movie was actually good. But it's going to take about 2 or 3 years for people to watch the consistency of the new DC universe and say, hey, I'm not going to accept this one good movie. I need to see you do this over and over and over again until I'm like, all right, I'm on board. Because we've seen this before.
Hold on real quick. I appreciate you, New York. I'm not sleep. Hey, when I hear good gems, man, I know a lot of people don't know Jedi Mike over here. Well, you should, but I know we have a lot of new supporters coming in. But when Jedi Mike, because this is Jedi Mike thing. I don't want to do no spoils, but anything that he drops my way with these type of information, I zip my lip and listen. And it's the problem with a lot of people out there in those other spaces. When people's talking and qualify for certain things, all I can do is give my input, ask a heck of a lot of questions so that information come forward. So if you're a fan of DC, Marvel, news like that, even down to the boys, because we was definitely hot and heavy for the boys. We was on other panels, mostly his was talking
about. By the way,
yeah.
I'm gonna have you on my show for that because it's coming in September. The spinoff show for the boys, Gen V, is coming out. Yeah, even though they released a trailer for it, they weren't there for Comic-Con, but the spinoff show for the boys called Gen V, which is about the superheroes basically recruiting for the Seven and the college story for Supes, that's coming out in September. So
Yeah.
I'll probably add you on to review for that.
Oh, nice. I'll definitely be down for that one. New York said, I'm off the bed as you should. Hey, I just woke up. It's my day off. I'm up. I'm a night person. That's pretty much the only reason I like having the evening graveyard shift. I can rock that all day. I'm a night person. I'm not a morning person. So yeah, but I'll let you go finish. But there's a question asked. Somebody's asking. Shout out to Empress. Empress says, "What's your opinion on Netflix Gotham?" And we'll get
funny he said Netflix.
Yeah, I loved it. For me personally, I love Netflix Gotham.
Really, with Jim Gordon?
Yeah, I loved him. Because he was like that. He was like that.
Hey, I feel like I'm in enemy territory right now. Those are like literally the antithesis of like what I'll watch when it comes to like comic book shows. Like,
it was like the 2.0 version.
No, Gotham was actually pretty good.
It was like a 2.0 version of like how Smallville was. Like if this was Smallville now, it was like a more. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. You know what DCEU show got me was Titans and Peacemaker. I like those. I really like those a lot.
Surprisingly, Peacemaker
Titans was connected to the DCU, but Peacemaker is the highest rated DCU show. Yeah, DC like projects. Peacemaker is the highest DC EU rated show.
That was actually surprised for me. It was surprisingly good. When I saw him as a character in a movie, I did my homework on him.
Yeah,
I said,
Peacemaker's great.
Yeah, honestly, I thought he was going to be more of a. He wasn't. Based on the movie, and then based on what I went to watch the source material. But I think most people need to, just as a comic fans, we kind of got to separate those two also, which is sucks for us. Because I say, oh, let me just do my reference homework on Peacemaker. Then when he comes on in the show, I can see how he performs. It's gonna be any Easter eggs, whatever. It wasn't particularly that, but they introduced a lot of the element from the comic books, and then they kept it moving forward for the movie. But from the movie, they kind of like dumped him down to the sense of he was more slapstick humor, if that makes sense. But yes, Empress, yes, I loved it also, mainly because the character development for they pretty much did origin stories for each character in Netflix Gotham. That's the best thing I loved about it.
You got a chance to know the characters.
Correct.
And I like that's my main issue with the content DC puts out. Like their animated content is dope. Yeah. You can't say anything bad about their animated content if you're being fair. Titans got a bad rap, and I felt like Nightwing was a better Batman than anything I seen.
He was more Batman than Robin. That's the crazy part.
I cover for Titans. And this is one of my friends, Josh. We both felt the same way. We were championing for the show because, like, this is like my childhood, right? And by the way, Dick Grayson, I felt as a character has not gotten the respect he deserved for the last 80 years. He's like one of the oldest DC characters. You have to understand, like, terms have been created because he's been
Right.
created back around in the 60s, along with Batman, but off about what 10 years or so when they created Batman Robin. But yeah, he's been
Yeah.
treated like second class citizen when really he's really one of crucial characters within DC Comics, along with Dick Grayson, with Tim Drake as well as Robin and other stuff like that. But here's the thing: both season 1 and season 2 of Titans pissed me off because of the finales. They have a good, strong opening, and they
Really?
basically drop the ball in the finale. For
Nah.
example, season 1.
I thought the opening turned me off because, and I tell you why, because I compared it to I compared Titans to the new what's it, the Gotham kids or where they was the
Gotham Knights? Oh hell
Yeah,
no. No,
Gotham,
no,
yeah,
no,
that,
no, no, no,
yeah.
no,
When I saw that,
no,
I was like, what is going on?
no.
Like, how many kids Batman got around here? And I literally had to look them up. Like, when I got to search that hard for characters on the show, it didn't make any sense.
And
No, but
I'm sorry. One thing I will say too, that Batman was ill. That was a good interpretation of Batman when the older Batman when he lost his cool when Jason Todd was killed. That was
Yeah,
gangster, man. That was really
yeah.
good character development. It was scary. It took it to a Batman to a horror place. And because it couldn't
But it goes back to the core of who Batman was. Like, he's a child. This is what his the vengeance part. Because his parents, he was a child. His parents passed away, so he been focused on that same little kid and moving forward. So while now he got his own quote unquote the children, the Bat family. He was literally going to pass off the cape and cowl to that Robin, but the fact that
then he
he's
declined.
yeah,
He declined.
yeah, many
He said
times.
you're too unstable. He said you're too unstable. And that was a cool concept to me, man. I liked how it was sourced to the comic book. And it got character development, man. And then like I'm at 37, for real, at 37, I can't sit through I couldn't sit through the Blue Beetle. I couldn't do it. It didn't have the depth. And I wanted to see it. It didn't have the depth of like what I'd watched that during the pandemic on HBO.
Yeah.
When it came to the DC.
And this is my whole this is my whole problem with when it comes down to Hollywood films trying comics based from the comics versus the actual comic going to the anime. The anime itself, when I feel like when they sit down and have conversations, they all come to the same accord when they have conversations about the character development, the writing, the producing, everything. When it comes to Hollywood and these films, it's like we're gonna do it our way. I think it's gonna go from there, and then whatever little weird keyboard or whatever numbers they look at, and they're like, "Oh, this is the audience." I feel like they're targeting some kind of audience that we don't see.
I can tell you, if you want to go there, we can go there.
Yeah, let's go there.
This is just this is a part of like in terms of the video essay I'm working on, but the problem is that because there's two factors to this. We have to stop acting like us as comic book fans. We know how to make a good movie because some of us don't. You have to understand. Some of these people I've seen in the comments act like, oh well, we just do this, and open the multiverse, and then Ghost Rider shows up, and then along with Blade, with Wesley Snipes, and then you have Ben Affleck Daredevil show up, and then there too, and then Jean Grey can just go up there. And, no, that's not just because you want to have a whole a cluster of all your favorite toys in one freaking movie. That's not how you tell a good story. But the other thing you have to add into this is that in the last about 5 years or 6 years, let's be real. Now, someone made a comment about this. I'm not going to be going into the whole woke conversation because a part of it is there is definitely an agenda that's out there that they're pushing agenda over good character development and a good story.
Right.
Like, listen, I love Blue Beetle. Yeah, you want to do a Mexican representation of a character? Go ahead. Okay, we can go Marvel with Nova. But here's the problem. The problem is the fact that like you do the representation disservice when you don't have a good character development or actually a well-developed story to serve that character. And what happened is that you basically piss off two people. You piss off the community that you're trying to represent, because then people who hate it be like, oh man, these racist bigot XYZ, blah blah blah. But then you also piss off the comic book fans, like, no, I actually like this character, but then also you made this a freaking political agenda propaganda of film, to the point where now it's like, listen, I just want to watch a good character, and you instead of just trying to put messages in my face. Like, and we've seen that with She-Hulk. We've seen that with other characters in with Birds of Prey and other properties and stuff that fortunately we're doing disservice. But like, we love these characters. For example, you can say, well, oh yeah, nobody doesn't want to watch any LGBT characters. Like, no, most of our favorite LGBT characters in the X-Men. I like Psylocke. I like other characters. I like Batwoman. But the problem is that show was freaking horrible.
I agree.
I have a rebuttal, just so.
Sure, go ahead.
I don't like most of any of the other things he said, anyways, because I'm a indie comic guy.
Like Image Comics and Variant.
I will say, hold on. I'm sorry. I don't want to lose this point. I'm not one of the fans that will say I want to have all these extras and everything. I think the revisionism that's going on in Hollywood only fits the people that have the ability to move the needle, and it neglects actual source material. So with that being said, when I expect a Flashpoint paradox and it's completely off, and just because it should be off because it's a change of times or whatnot, it doesn't neglect the fact it was a trash movie. It was a trash movie. And it wasn't what nobody asked for. And like Greypill said something, he said, who are they marketing to? I'm a comic book nerd. It wasn't marketed towards me. I saw the lights and the techno music, and I was like, no, I can't do it. But that's a lot of stuff with DC. The reason why I think Marvel laps them all the time is because Marvel listens. When they fall off course, they try to get back on course. I think they overdid it with the giant storyline cinematic universes, because I think it was oversaturation, in my opinion. It made me want to watch things like it made me want to pick up Spawn again, or it made me want to go and watch. There's a new series like Something Is Killing the Children. That one was pretty dope.
Oh, that is a great story. That is a fantastic story.
Philadelphia by Rodney Barnes is dope. They even have like a Spawn crossover. I started jumping back into indies because it felt like Marvel already had their thing mapped out, already going. It's already down the road. And then
I'm a big fan of Spawn. What's the Spawn crossover? I would definitely watch that.
There's Spawn in Philadelphia just dropped.
And there definitely is one with Spawn with Invincible as well.
Yeah, Spawn with Invincible as well. So there's a lot of really cool indie comics that have like a lot of depth in short stories, if that makes sense. But forget all that. DCEU, you said that they don't make movies for the fans, but who do they make them for? Because they're not using the source material. And then it's now our job to teach them how to remake our comic books we grew up on. You know, it's as fans, we shouldn't have to be like, why aren't you sticking to some type of source material? Why are you pandering to a certain audience? Because I'm sleep, fam. I want to stay sleep. Let it pass me by. I don't want to get it. Okay, I got my own stuff going on, and see, like Wetworks. Like that would be a good series now because it's really grid mark. And I think people are leaning more towards like a Snyder style storytelling.
Yeah. And
DC had them. They had them. You know, that's where I think a comic book fan would feel like they aren't listening. But DC has very loyal fans. They are loyal, some of the loyalist fans, because Batman has plot armor for everything. And I love Batman. You know, Superman will change abilities when stuff gets too rough. Like, what? Here's a new. But I grew up on like.
I'm not a Superman fan.
I grew up on 90s X-Men, Blue Team.
Oh, yes. There you go. Blue Team. There you go.
Yeah. So that's the kind of nerd I am. So I grew up with like the Morlocks and understanding Genosha from.
Dude, I didn't have you on my channel, bro. Yeah. For real.
And so when I watch any of those movies, it's the same thing with politics. It's the same thing. It's the two-party thing. I'm like, bro, they're both producing. One's just pandering and winning, and the other one's trying to keep up and losing. Can we get some original content in the middle somewhere? And I think that's where we get lost. My opinion.
But here to your point, though, this is the thing. when we have both these iconic characters like Marvel and DC, how
Right.
is it that the highest rated superhero content right now is The Boys? When nobody knew who the fuck they were before when Amazon put them out. And you know the reason why that The Boys and Invincible is succeeding right now, because especially The Boys, is because it's a parody of Marvel and DC. They're making a joke of the tropes that they're doing, like the pandering, like the tropes that they're making all these other superhero content to the point they become original in itself. Like for example, because of the hard R and the other things, they're able to take up stories to a point where they actually are setting up. They're able to put messaging and be meta in the way, because that's what the source material is. The Boys is a commentary of the political climate that we're in, especially if these superheroes are in real life. If they're celebrities, guess what happened? They're corrupt. They do the
Right.
names, they get into drugs, high sex profile, all the stuff like that. It's a realistic interpretation of what this might happen, even though it can be a little bit exaggerated just for entertainment purposes. But the problem is with currently with saying with DC and Marvel, like I mentioned, you cannot tell superhero films the way you used to. Exactly what's going on moving forward with James Gunn, when the first thing he announced after Superman was the Authority. Who the hell knows the Authority? They're
Right.
basically again, they're basically like anti-Watchmen, or a type of like anti society people who basically go against the government, and it's basically the same story as the Elite from
Right.
Superman, if you remember that.
But you know what? You know why? I feel like they dropped that or they did that to mirror Red Bulls.
Yes.
That's supposed to be dropping. I've been seeing that game Marvel DC's been doing with Marvel when they because when they announced like Loki,
Yeah.
you started seeing how they started playing with timeline play and wormholes and all these stuff. In game, it shook the game to a point where I felt like DC couldn't compete at the finale of that. And I think they should, in my opinion, I think they should have stuck to the Nolan verse and built around it and took their time. But going back to the point of The Boys, I think the reason why The Boys is beating Marvel and the other companies, not because of the parody aspect, but because it's more advanced storytelling. It's more
I agree.
advanced storytelling.
That Watch is the same way, right? Because Watch is the
Yeah.
movie came out and it just went ghost. And next thing you know, they did the series, and then that was the most hardcore
That was the
one
best
season
superhero
ever.
content in the last 5 years. I would
Jeez.
debate anybody on that.
I
Watchmen
think-
was
I think The Watchmen followed up with another banger that got slept on it. When I say that was probably some of the best superhero content, was the
Yeah.
TV series Watchmen
Yeah,
that we had out. Between Watchmen and Lovecraft Country, I ran out of weed. I ran out of weed. I ran out of food. I was just a fat slob during the pandemic. Like, yes,
yeah.
because not because of the content of what they were telling, which was dope stories, but the level of complexity to these stories. Like, you got to see how Dr. Manhattan actually thought, type stuff. You know what I mean? Like, his
And they
reason for making
could have moved
decisions.
forward with that because, like, for example, the Doomsday Clock, right? That was so much good stuff. Like, they could do crossovers, Doomsday Clock. It's so much going on. Wally, what's going on, man? What's your thoughts on the Flash movie? Did you love it, hate it? Matter of fact, I already know what your thoughts are. You said, correct me, sir. You said you liked it. You thought it was good.
No, you didn't hear my whole thoughts to that.
Okay, let's get your thoughts.
As far as
thought it
the
was
Flash
strange.
goes, no. It was okay.
Yeah.
I was willing to give it an okay.
Is there
There was a
1 to
whole
10?
lot of cringe towards the beginning of the movie.
1 to 10, sir. What'd you give it?
1 to 10, oh yeah. I gave it 6.5.
Are you serious? That's above average.
No, when we talk about movies, if it's not past 7, it's okay. That's the whole point. I give it that. That's why I gave it that. And the reason why I gave it that much is only because, again, towards the middle and towards the end, that was the only twisting part of it that was okay for me. Now, granted, yeah, like I said, it ain't all that great. It wasn't all that great to where you wanted to be. And I ain't gonna lie, even towards the end when it got to the whole Kryptonian battle, you can sort of say that whole experience was a little bit of a jet lag moment because you to keep running back into the
when he did the second time, it's like when he did it the second time, like no lie, like Mandrill said it, somebody else said it. It only got good when they got introduced to the OG Batman, and then up to the fight scenes and with the army. When he did it the second time, Wally, I was like, I fell off. I was like, what at this point? Like, you really is not going to learn your lesson at this point? And then what kind of threw me off just on the mindset of it, because somebody was saying on an IG story, like when the younger version ran and tried to get the piece or something, and they were trying to make it seem like this guy's going to be the next, or himself going to be the next Reverse Flash. But I tried not to put that in my mind. But when he got when he tried to phase the armor through his arm, and he got the little armor stuck in his forearm, maybe he might be. Yeah, maybe he might be the other version from WB, because since they're nitpicking at other spots, maybe he might be that other part of the Flash from the far future with the armor. So I was like, okay, maybe that might be it. And then when he kept running, kept running back into Speed Force. It's like, well, maybe he might be the verse because he's showing hate and disdain for his quote unquote future self. And I'm like, I don't know. It was like at that point, it was messing me up so much, bro. And I just couldn't get it. And this is why I'm breaking down 3 parts. I'll let you go with this, Wally. Hold on. I broke it down 3 parts. From the beginning, the first part, from the beginning up to OG Batman, that was like 1 part. From OG Batman up to when he died the second time, that was like the second part for me. And third part, after he died, and they kept running back and forth. I took only the chunk of when OG Batman, that middle part. Anything else after that, and I hate this, anytime somebody play with timelines, I don't care what movie, what show you on, anytime anybody play with a timeline, you're always messing something up. I don't care how perfect, but in this aspect, when he actually fixed it,
you got a classic skin wrap, man. This is my dude.
Yeah,
I respect you for that, man.
Hey, I was just about to show you guys. Like, I just picked up before I hopped on the thing. I had to open up my packages. I was like, yeah, man, I'm nerd life till they kill me, fam. I'm like the Tupac of comic books in my city, fam. Let me find out somebody has
it, man.
Shout out to OG Patrice. Wally, now what you gonna say, sir? I apologize. Shout out to OG Patrice.
What's going on, OG Patrice? Yeah, because that was one of the more it was like that was the only thing about that end part when they got to the battle scene, and he's being like the other Flash was being idiotic and constantly keep running back just to keep repeating the cycle. And it was like, yo, you do know that none of this is working, right? Like, why are you gonna keep on doing this? Yeah. And but at the same notion, I'm like, hold on, because this actually makes sense, because I started to realize he is actually the dude that's in the Speed Force that is trying to stop him anyway. So it's like, wait a minute. So how did this work?
Yeah, you smarter than I am, Wally, because it never dawned on me. Because remember when he tried it the first time, and then the entity actually knocked him out. Yeah, I literally thought that was, you know who I thought it was? I thought that was the black Flash.
Black Ranger.
Yeah, I thought that was him, because he's the one actually, anybody intervenes in Speed Force, you automatically get chased down. So I thought it was him.
So that's why I thought
it was a revamped version of Savitar from the CW where it was himself. But here's the thing.
See, that's why I gave it a 3. That's why this conversation where it's like, because he had a shard, but you gotta understand it's the revamp of the WB/CW, but it's too much.
That's what threw me off. I'm like, we're taking a piece here.
Right, no, because this was the interesting part, because me and Rush, we actually talked about this, right? He thought the same thing. He thought that was an adaptation.
I'm gonna be honest, Wally. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna let you go with this, but a lot of things Rush said on Red Lipstick Vibes, man. We was all there with that whole Superman Flash thing.
He was
yeah, that's that. But we're talking about something else.
I'm just saying he lost cool points with me. He's valid to his opinion.
But he actually watched the movie. But my thing is this:
he watched that movie too.
No, we ain't gonna go there. But he told me he thought it was a Savitar. I didn't think it was Savitar. I thought it was the Death Speedster. That's what I thought it was, and I thought that was him.
Hold on, we got to save lives here. I apologize. We got to save lives here. This alert. OG Patrice, you're fine seeing the animated Spider-Man. If you get some source references, this Wednesday, I'm promoting it now. this Wednesday, I'll be working with Red Lipstick Vibes. Everybody know her. Where we're gonna have like a geek conversation based on Star Wars, Ahsoka. So we're gonna have that conversation there. So everybody's all welcome and invited. If you don't know how to find me, it'll be in the community tab. So me and Red Lipstick Vibes already had a conversation. So I'm gonna rally up the troops. We're gonna have that conversation. Whether you're a Jedi and Sith, you're all welcome. You know, most people here rooting for the Jedi. I know some Siths out there. You're more than welcome. But here's the test. Because people always like to hit links to be hitting links. I don't play that over there with Red Lipstick Vibes. All right. So if the conversation is about Star Wars and you can't pass 3 of the tests when we ask you some questions, sit your behind in the chat and enjoy the conversation and learn something Star Wars.
I feel that.
Learn some Star Wars.
I feel that.
But I will say this also, OG Patrice, just to help you save your soul, your children's soul, your children's souls. If you got nieces and nephews, you got the kids, and you want to go to a movie, and the children say, "Hey, Auntie OG Patrice, I want to go see The Flash." No. No. Hold on to that money. Go buy them some candy, some cookies, some ice cream. OG Patrice, do not take them to see that movie. Wait, it's free now on Max. If you want to put in front of TV, I wouldn't recommend that. That's how I'm saying no to it. You know, if you want to do that, the fact you are an adult, I say run, hit the play button and run. Don't even look at the screen because it's a no. Yes, no Flash. Flash is no good. No. They have the original. They had the original Batman. We know the original Batman. We know the original Batman, so he's okay. Matter of fact, if you do play it, OG. Fast forward to the part when you see his face, he have a long beard on, and then press play. Then when he get deleted twice, then stop the movie and say that's in, kids. That's the only way you're going to get any worth out of that movie. That's it.
Yeah.
The ending is trash. The extra credits were trash. Even the extra credit with the dog floating up in slow-mo with the eyes wandering, and yeah, go ahead.
I have a question because I have to ask any fellow blurs this question so I can judge you passively aggressively in my mind. Okay, for real. What villain across any multiverse in the comic book, horror genre, comic book genre, we'll keep the comic book, independent or mainstream, do you guys identify with? Like, what villain would you be? Like 1000%, no if, ands, or buts. Not your favorite. I'm saying which one would you actually identify with in being? Like, say if you could be Venom for a day or Deadshot.
Okay. Go ahead, Jedi. Can we pick between 3 or it has to be 1?
Just one.
Okay.
Just one.
So I'll pick this one character because he wasn't a villain for the entire time, but it's just for the crucial for that story. I'll be Red Hood. Because you got, you can
you really consider Red Hood a villain?
I thought he was more of an anti-hero, but he was a villain in the original arc, right?
Because like I'm saying, in the original he was antagonist to Batman until he actually. That's why I said he's not always going to be a villain, but he started out like, no, I'm coming back for vengeance, and he was basically like he's a character that was based off of pain because he was abused, he was left for dead and everything. And he came back resurrected from Lazarus pit, and then because of that experience, because of the Lazarus pit, metaphorically, it made him metaphorically it altered his mind, but it altered his way of how he responds to that pain. So when he came out of the Lazarus pit, he's like, all right, I'm coming back because I felt Bruce, he left me, he abandoned me. So I'm going to go I'm going to do what he didn't do. I'm going to go the extra mile, actually get the job done. When you knock people down, they get back up. When I knock them down, they stay down. And then now it only took because of him after going through the whole story with Batman under the Red Hood, that when he's like, you know what, he apologized, I'm sorry, that I didn't kill the Joker for you and everything, and then he actually became a hero or anti-hero and stuff. But in the beginning, he was on a path for vengeance. I was like, that's who I identify with.
What about you, Wally?
You gotta label me first. You gotta label me after him.
I'm still thinking because I always got like superheroes.
You ain't the only one because I ain't gonna lie, like
we can go manga too. Cause I'm not up on animes. I'm old, man. I'm not up on mangas. I'm still a Kira kid or Guts. But we can go there too, because I don't want to limit nobody. Because
Gus is my
anime would be
dude. I got
a side
introduced
piece.
to
That'll be a
comic book
side piece
long
choice.
time ago.
But oh man. Wait, we're just talking about across comic books, right? Like,
Yeah, just cross the
across
comics. Yeah, just
All
cross
right.
the comics.
It's a weird question though, because I never thought of it.
yeah, who would
that's-
you
I
do
mean,
for it, Jared?
honestly,
You had to carry out those actions. You had to carry
Well,
them
because here's
out.
the thing, Red Hood never did anything bad to good people. It's just like he just had a
well, that's my thing because I would label him a vigilante, though. That's what I would label him. Like in
Punisher.
that rebirth, I would label him a vigilante.
Yeah, like Punisher. Because a lot of people consider him bad, a lot of people consider him good, and two, he was a confusing character to not us, but to most people, because there was like he was just a fearful being. And then moving forward with the comic books, I'm still thinking, man. But if I had to guess, though, real talk,
oh, go ahead.
I don't know why I thought about. I'm thinking of I'm really thinking of what's his name? Ghost Rider.
Okay. We got some.
There's
Ghost
a
Rider's a
different
villain?
version. No, but hold on. I'm thinking of a bit different version though, because I just watched the new because
Are you talking?
the
Are you
Mexican
talking
one. The Mexican one.
No, that was Angelai. He's badass. But the new one, they said the Punisher became Ghost Rider, and he was fighting side by side with Deadpool.
Or Deadpool.
Deadpool, and they tried to take out Thanos, and then ended up he was working with them because they both technically
Man, this
couldn't
is
die.
making up shit now, bro. That's
I
crazy.
swear to you, I saw a whole little.
You're talking cosmic.
This
You're
motherfucker's
talking
in a War
cosmic
Machine
Ghost Rider.
costume. Like he's in a War
You're
Machine
talking-
suit. Now all of a sudden he's Ghost Rider. Come on.
He's talking
Yeah.
cosmic Ghost Rider.
You know how he became Ghost Rider? Because it was something
That's
weird.
not. I'm talking villain, no, Red.
I know.
Great
I'm really trying to think of a villain
Yeah,
because
Let me
I guess
throw
to
mine
answer your question, we actually are good, decent people. Like it, like
No,
Yeah, like, I got
screw this. Let me
it's
throw it
kinda
in
hard
here. I'm willing to throw this in right now. I'll go with Killmonger.
Okay.
he's
Because
he murdered Forrest Whitaker.
well, that's a. I don't know
he's
if I.
I ain't gonna lie. To me, low-key, he's a justified villain, though. He's a
Yeah,
justified
he's a
villain.
justified villain. Yeah, I can't really.
Hey, with all the reasons and everything,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I said Killmonger. I was
Yeah,
gonna go
that's a
there.
good one. That's a good one.
No,
Okay,
Well,
now
I'll give
take
you
Bush
mine.
faster then.
I'll give you mine personally across all Marvel. And I guess people even say he was obscure, but I'm going Victor Von Doom for sure.
Ooh.
Bro.
For
Oh, yeah,
sure.
yeah,
All right,
yeah,
screw
yeah.
it. I got petty. I'm gonna go Mr. Sinister because low key. I
See?
feel like
Oh,
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it, Grey Pill. I
Yo.
knew it.
Yeah, there
I
we go.
knew it.
yo, he got I ain't gonna lie, yo, Loki. He got patience for years just to get the job done.
I thought
Patience.
I thought
Okay,
you were
what?
gonna
All right,
say
then I'll
Mr.
take my back.
Sinister
I'll
or
take my back
Apocalypse.
then.
Really?
I'm Deathstroke.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I thought you were gonna
Andrew
say
said-
Sinister.
Ooh, that's
Hey,
okay.
Hold on,
nice.
Angela Knight said a joke. Hey, but which Joker though, Angela?
It's the
Because you got
Flashpoint Joker. She's
Hold on,
Flashpoint
which-
Joker.
yeah, which Angela Joker? Because you got many. You got the Latino Joker from back in the day. You got
Right.
Gangster. You got from the original Batman. You got the
Right.
path from the Joker that we know. Then you got the for me the cringy Joker from with Will Smith worked when played on for Harley Quinn. You got the Joker himself, which is like the origin one. And she says her answer is what she says.
Joaquin. Oh man. Well, I'll suggest our sponsor of the channel right now.
From the cringy
BetterHelp.
one I just said.
That's George Romero. You're thinking, or not George Romero. What's his name? George
Caesar Romero.
Caesar Romero.
From Suicide Squad.
No,
Oh, no.
from Adam West.
That's Jared Leto.
Okay.
We don't do Jared Leto. We don't talk about
Yeah,
Jared
with,
Leto.
with,
Joker,
with her
right?
response, I suggest therapy. And
Hey, but I will say this.
Therapy.
and shout out to the sponsor of today's channel, the BetterHelp. BetterHelp is also a service provider for mental health therapists across many different platforms.
No, but I will say this.
I was thinking Joker, but I was like, nah.
I'll say this in Angela's defense. If you're looking for a good story and you haven't really delved into you're not really picking and choosing the Joker lore, that's a good Joker to start off with because it's like complex and creepy. You know? I thought the Joaquin Joker was the scariest one for me because he felt like he was unpredictable. Like I'll just be chilling at IHOP and get the back of my brains blown off with this guy in the city, you know.
And he only killed 2 people in that whole movie, or 3 allegedly.
But I mean, watching the movie, it was like, oh, god damn, he's weird. But yeah, I picked Victor Von Doom because from a kid, the mask was iconic with the green hood.
My bad. I dropped the ball.
And then Susan Storm, Morgan Le Fay, Scarlet Witch, Magic, beating up Reed Richards, crossovers, getting beat up by Luke Cage for like $200. That was an amazing storyline. Like I had a comic book where Dr. Doom was just planning some villainy, and Luke Cage was like, "Hey man, you owe me $200."
Hold on. Angela, the link is pinned up top. I'll drop it again. The link is pinned up top.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take mine back, and I saw one of the comments, and I'm like, yeah, that's probably me, the Phoenix.
Phoenix Force?
Hold on, because I'm sorry, I'm bringing you up, Marcus, because I'm a little bit triggered by the Joker she mentioned. Like, I'm fine with the show because they did I felt like a good origin story of the Joker, but at the same time, you didn't watch any other Jokers. Like even the Gotham Jokers, I wasn't a fan of his, but
Cameron Morgan was good.
Look, we all know what Joker was the Joker. We all
let us know, Jolly.
Heath Ledger.
The one, yes, that ninja.
Heath Ledger is the Joker, the quintessential Joker, in my opinion. That's the one.
Hold on, let's get Marcus in here. What's going on, Angela? Marcus, what's your thought of the movie? And to answer the Jumbie's question, which villain would you pick?
Well, first of all, shout out to everybody on the panel. How's everybody doing? What's up, man? I introduced the lady. Nice to meet you, Angela. First on the panel with you. Yeah, I thought the movie was just garbage. It's not even garbage. It was garbage, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But again, that's me. I'm not gonna say, hey, shame anybody who liked it. That's what you like. That's what you like. But I will say that I think the villain for me, that he doesn't get mentioned as much as I think he should. Vandal Savage, DC Comics. Vandal Savage is a guy who was sophisticated. He fought off Darkseid.
Underdog.
Came to a standstill with Darkseid. And he was a Neanderthal. He was a caveman, and he came into contact with the meteorite, and whatever what at that time they hadn't seen that stuff, and then all of a sudden he becomes evolved, immortal, enhanced, and faces off against arguably known as probably the darkest DC villain at that time for the Justice League.
Did you see him in Young Justice when he literally was orchestrating the whole thing with the universe?
Yeah, with the light.
That's crazy. Technically, he's human.
That was dope. That was so dope, though.
I knew it. I knew he would say something like that. I knew it.
Yeah, but then again, like I said, like I have my favorite villain. One of my favorite villains for DC, I think Vandal Savage is in the top 2, at least. And then you have
that kind of say a lot about your personality, though. If you picking him, that say a lot about your personality.
Yeah, because to me, it's like I want to be the chess master behind the scenes, the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. Why would I want to put myself out there too much to be more of a target like Lex Luthor or Joker to be so obvious? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to be wearing a guy wearing a mechanical suit. I want to be somebody else.
Those got big egos though, so they don't care.
Yeah, and they got money though. But whatever.
You already know Vandal Savage didn't really need money. He was more about the power to influence. So he was always level.
Yeah.
And I think as far as Marvel, I because somebody already picked Doom, even though I said in the chat earlier, I'd probably go with this is gonna be just somebody that nobody really mentions as much either. Null, the guy who created the symbiotes.
Oh yeah, the King in Black.
Yeah, you're taking us down the rabbit hole. But hold that thought. Got Angela up here. Angela, appreciate you coming on up. You got your cherry pop, so I appreciate you. Tomorrow we're gonna have a group conversation, a political one about Trump, his arrest, what led there. I got some notes. Me and Angry Ginger conversation, so we're gonna have a nice, cool panel. So I'm waiting for everybody. Got to rally up the troops like the herd. So that's what I pretty much do over here. We have the group conversation, even though we got grown adults. But also I got to be petty for Tuesday because people just cursing and going on my last platform. So I gotta make sure people get recognized for supporting the channel for Tuesday. So I'm gonna make that and give the supporters their flowers for sending cash apps that I really don't ever look into. So they're gonna be the sponsors of the show for Tuesday, and that's the conversation we're gonna have for Tuesday. So Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Time, gonna have a group conversation, talk about Trump, and Wednesday at if you want to find it, it's gonna be in the community tab where we're gonna have another geekathon where we talk about Star Wars, whether you're Jedi and Sith, over there at Red Lipstick Vibes, where she pretty much called the smoke show. So I'll be have full control of that for Wednesday. Click the link to find out the time. Andrew, so we had 2 questions. So again, did you like the Flash movie? If you do, what'd you think about it? Jumby asked a question about what is your favorite villain or who you would be for a day. It doesn't matter, Marvel or whatever across the board. And there you go, lady.
Okay.
And my third question was like, why'd you pick the Joker you picked?
I know I have a store. That's why I hopped on because I was like, damn. First off, I'm surprised no one said Joaquin because I was shocked in the movie who didn't like that movie because I thought it was very deep. For anyone who talks about the lack of mental health for men in the space, I honestly thought that should have been the top of the fucking charts because I think that told
Facts.
Okay.
Facts.
So to me, like I'm, you know me, Grey Pill. I'm huge into mental health, and to me, you're a true fucking villain when you get people to have empathy for a fucking villain. Because most villains is just a fucking villain, and you have people that hate them. Now the true fucking goat is when people who actually hate villains turn to be like, you know what? I actually feel like shit for hating this villain because we know how a villain was born. Joaquin did a fantastic fucking job displaying every
Blue Beetle.
exactly to how he became the Joker, and I think that was the most realistic way to convey how people are constantly pushing people to the corner, to even the way his mother treated him, to where she convinced him that your laugh is normal, you were put on earth to make people laugh. No, motherfucker, it's a disease, you bitch. You made me believe my whole job was to make people laugh. That is the most fucked up role you could have lied. So I just think that was so realistic, and it really blew my mind how many people walked out of that movie because I was there for it, and I'm a dark motherfucker. So to me, super sick. I know I'm answering your questions backwards, so bear with me.
No, you're good. As long as it get answered.
Well, I can't wait for the next one that comes out in October.
Hey, so since you're talking about dark, did you see the what's her name? I'm forgetting her name so much. She was on Netflix. She did she smashed Luke Cage.
Jessica Jones.
Thank you, Jessica Jones. Did you watch Jessica Jones?
No, I'm
you should. No, you definitely should.
You talking about dark? But if you do that,
Purple Man was nuts.
Watch a little bit of her origin story because the origin story then it starts off the show.
Season 1 is great. Season 1 is great.
But there's no. But I'm saying there's a little mini origin story before the actual show because she pretty much was the Purple Man pretty much mind controlled her just by words, and from there the whole relationship he had with her, he raped her, he abused her, she went through a lot. So then when the show starts off, none of that get told, but it's like little spoonfuls of that. And she was an alcoholic / private eye. She was a hero, but when he took control of her, it ended up where he took control of her, used her to go fight the Scarlet Witch and the Avengers. Vision got involved because again he in love with her, so his emotions, the only emotions he got is for her. Him and the Avengers pretty much beat her down to a pulp where she's just in the hospital bed. You got the Avengers after they stopped and saved the galaxy, and they're like around the hospital bed like, we're sorry, you want to join the Avengers? She's like, screw this. She let the cape and cowl go, and then it starts the show, and she's the drunk a private eye.
Yeah.
Just smart mouth. I think you love her character. She's just a straight smart mouth.
Oh, that's sick. I'm sure the Red Pill guys would love her too.
No, she's not submissive. She's not submissive.
No. It's actually really different though.
Did she make a sandwich?
I'm just trolling. I'm trolling.
She make her own sandwiches. I don't even think she makes sandwiches. She just make liquor bottles.
She can manifest it probably.
Demon in the bottle.
Since it's sort of the whole fucking content creating stuff, I don't really watch TV. That my husband will recap me on all this good stuff. So no, I have not seen The Flash to have too much of an input on that. Unfortunately, it's just I only want.
You saved another life, everybody.
Yeah, you miss nothing. You miss nothing, ma'am, at all.
But am I the only one who feels like movies nowadays are just getting really like?
I'm doing a video essay on it. Hollywood is going down the drain.
Hollywood is just not it. Like, I don't know what's going on.
I have a strong opinion on that, and it's because Hollywood started lacking authenticity in new media. They kept recycling the same stories over and over again, and now we're at a point where how many Wakanda Forevers can they can they drop, or how many times can they switch a character's palette? And like Source fans just aren't interested. Like I remember waiting for a Batman movie to drop, even though I wasn't a Batman fan, maybe just to criticize it. But now it's to a point where it's the same story, and if it doesn't sell, they'll wait 5 years and sell it to my nephew. You know?
Yeah, I have to agree.
We're still sticking to comic movies, or you mean like movies in general?
I think movies in general. I think the independent one
I don't
slap
know
the mainstream
if
ones.
we're
The problem.
Good night, y'all.
adults now. Like I think that as we get older,
What's
maybe
it,
our
Jedi?
perspectives and
As
our
I gotta
beliefs
go. I'm like, good night.
All right, Jedi,
Jedi,
man. I
good
appreciate
night.
you, man.
He's leaving because I showed up now. That's what it is.
Yo.
Hey, listen. You losing your neck. You can call 1-800 find Mandrill's
May the
neck.
force be with you, Jedi.
No, Jedi. Here's the thing. I love the thumbnail.
Listen, you
and the
can
title.
kiss my sweet delicious ass. You understand?
No, I can't. Listen, Great Peel, fantastic job on the thumbnail. Love it, because that movie really was trash. I get what Mike was saying. Like, I like the message, but I got so caught up into the nonsense. That movie was
It was
bad,
hard to
dude.
find the message. It was so
Right,
hard.
it was so like Great Peel. I was not kidding when
This
I
is
said
what
it.
happens when you review movies for a living.
No, when Mike and I talked, I know you were watching us, but I was serious. Mike, it took me 3 days just to get started watching that film, dude.
Yeah.
I tried 3 times, and on the 4th time, I finally toughed it out. And then when Michael Keaton's Batman showed up, I was like, oh, okay, a good movie. And then he left, and I was like, no, where's the good part again?
That second, third, and fourth time, I would have watched different movies instead. But that's
what I did, Marcus. I was watching some old stuff. I even jumped on Avatar: The Airbender. It was a lot going
shout out
on.
to Aang.
Yo, and then Mandrell, when it popped up on Max, right, like a couple days, I said, "Ooh, it's free." Then I scrolled all the way up to the part when he actually met Batman. I just started watching for it, because that's the part that you was talking about, the first 30 minutes. That's what I watched. I didn't even go back to kind of like refresh, because like ain't no way in God's green earth I'm doing that. So I got to the part where I ended off with, and just finished off from there. And for them two characters to be button heads and how they interact with each other was like nauseating. It was annoying me. And I'm like, y'all can't be that too. I get the age limit, but y'all can't be that too much apart from age gap for you acting this way. It was crazy. And then the ending of it, when he talked to they brought up to Aquaman, I said, why he even here?
That was that was a bad end credit scene.
The goofiness he was doing, it didn't make no sense. Why he here telling me something? Oh, I'm trying to explain to you by Aquaman. Don't care.
But you know what that reminded me of? You remember in Iron Man 3 when Tony's talking to Bruce Banner at the end of the movie in the therapy chair? At least that scene was a little bit better because it made more sense because he was going through PTSD. They were trying to match that with that.
Even with Thor and the Sorcerer Supreme, because they had like a little drinking moment. They never like hung out like that. But the fact that he was there for free beer and just only to hear him run his mouth, that made sense too, because that was like a kind of comical moment to make.
Yeah,
like, that made sense. But before I go off on a whole rant again, we're here to save lives, everybody. We're here to save lives. So the Flash was trash.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you get when people don't want you to watch the full movie.
No, sir. I'm pushing that.
You would have called yourself you didn't watch the whole
thing. Great pill. Real quick before Jedi, you know it's bad when you know the movie's for free and nobody still wants to watch that shit on a streaming service platform. That's bad. That's bad.
Hey, I got a worse one. You know it's bad when you gotta juggle geometry on plot lines to figure out who's who. I sat there for 7 minutes watching you guys go, but the one with the shard was the original. And he was like, no, it wasn't. You guys still don't know. Like, no one knows. I don't even think the creators know. And that's the trash. I just feel like that was trash. I'm sorry.
All right. No, you're good, sir. I appreciate that. I appreciate your honesty. Wally, so I'm gonna say this again. Yes, I am perfectly pushed the narrative. At the same time, I feel like it's a positive reinforcement to help young undeveloped children to get their mind right. Mandrell,
You know how you get their mind right? By telling them what was wrong with the shit.
I did, sir.
I could go on.
Mandrell, hold on. Mandrell came on.
Also saying that I skipped also.
Y'all take care.
All right, Jedi Mike, catch you later, man.
Mike.
I'll update you on Wednesday for Red Lipstick's Vice Jedi Star Wars thing.
Yeah, I'll see if I'm available. Yeah.
Okay. We haven't set a time yet, so I'll let everybody know between now and Tuesday. All right, so Mandrell, we had so we already know your answer. You thought the movie was trash. Thank you for the compliment of thumbnail. I work very hard for my subscribers, so thank you, sir. Number 2, the question was that John B presents everybody.
You hit 1K twice.
Yeah. That's a whole nother story. We're not gonna go down that rabbit hole. So the question was John B asked was across the comic book board, what villain would you be for a day and why? And yeah, that was a question because for some reason Andrew just spawned and triggered me, so she had like 3 questions.
Mandrell, say Voldemort, Mandrell.
Across the comic book board, man, that's big.
John B brought it up.
I think I'd be Eternity. Well, he's not really a villain. Jesus.
Yeah.
He had me stumped too.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. I mean, like the first one that pops in my head is probably Lex Luthor, but then you got Kingpin's too big. I wouldn't no. But
you can fight though.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, we were talking about for a day. Like I'd be Lex Luthor and just siphon all that money until it counts for me.
Hypergamy.
Until it counts for me.
This guy's feeling hypergamous, Grey Pill.
Right.
Give him Patreon.
And then I just sit down and wait for the whole spell to wear off. And so when this spell wears off, I'm back to myself again. I'm rich.
I ain't gonna lie, that's smart.
I like it.
Well, hey, you know what? I'm good too. I think you know what that works for me with Sinister because he got some. Yeah. He got this long calculated plan. Like he'll set stuff in motion, even if it wears up for me. I'll be good for the next whole. Because Sinister's just the type of person like he'll set himself up. Everybody think he's going for like a whole decade. He'll just pop up with his crazy plan. Like nobody can even stop him. Like you got to get lucky to get to him. So, and he pretty much tricked them. He pretty much like hacked himself to the point where he's almost immortal. Like his origin story was crazy.
Almost, yeah. He's almost immortal. Like his healing factor is ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, he doesn't need much to come back.
Yeah, I mean, like it's almost up there with Wolverine's, but not quite.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But his healing factor is ridiculous.
I don't know when they did the Old Man Logan story for just the movie, not the comic. Yeah. I was trying to understand and like I kind of understood it. Yeah, I kind of understood, but I didn't understand like why would they put the story plot in for him, like the antimantium made him poison him over time for his healing factor won't kick in, because that was kind of weird. But that kind of felt like I understood it because even though his bones were like the core of everything.
Yeah, but let's just do what I did. Let's just pretend like that never happened. The whole movie. That didn't happen.
Yeah, I had to let that go.
You know, there's a villain they don't mention though enough, and that's Mephisto. They don't mention him enough.
Why would you?
Well, I don't think Disney can because they're like.
Didn't they buy the property rights to him though?
Yeah, but they're doing like I don't think they'll say it Mephisto. They'll say something like the Dark One or something now because they're owned by Disney, like straight up.
I think that's
but he's Marvel's like the devil in a way.
Right. He was on.
Well, no. Marvel actually has a devil. It's called the one below all.
Called Mandrell.
Oh yeah, the Hulk had fought him, right?
The one below all. If they fought and then the Hulk, and then the one below all is like, dude, you too crunk, get out of here. Like the Hulk wreaked so much havoc that the devil spat it back out of hell. Like it was crazy. It was wild, dude. Because it was like Doctor Strange Hulk told Doctor Strange to teleport him and Fing Fang Foom and a bunch of other villains out of there, right? So he sent them to like Dormammu's dimension. Dormammu shows up, and a whole bunch of like cosmic villains showed up, and Hulk was beating the stew out of every single one of them. Like they had nothing for him at all. And so let's say Dormammu asked the devil to help him. So the one below all shows up. Hulk is Worldbreaker Hulk now, keep in mind. And he starts doing him. And I was like, man, and then the devil was like, man, listen, I'm out. This is your problem. You know what I mean? So he just spits him out of the dimension. Just to be sure, he's like, just to be sure, he spits him out of the dimension and kept everybody else there to protect everyone else. He threw Hulk back to the normal dimension, which is Earth. It was ridiculous, man. I was like, yeah, see? But yeah, the one above all has appeared in Marvel Comics one time.
Yeah.
Only once. And he showed up as a bum and he talked to Spider-Man, Peter Parker. He had a conversation with Peter Parker, and that was it. That's the only time you've ever seen the one above all. One time in the history of Marvel Comics. That was it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought he popped up more than once, though.
No, he only showed up one time.
I didn't know about that. I just only know about the one with
Peter Parker.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I only knew about the Hulk's one. That's how I knew of him.
Yeah, I knew that was his that was like the what's the word for it? That was his thing for a long time. That was the only time he was featured in comics. It was like during the polka dot print days. But he's been referenced since then. Yeah,
he's been referenced he's only been referenced like 12 or 16 times in the history of Marvel Comics. That's it. He has not been referenced. He's not even been referenced 20 times yet, dude. Like so I think Marvel tries to stay away from that because of religious reasons or whatever. I don't know, but they got other gods from other mythology in Marvel Comics. You know what I'm saying? You got Thor. That's actual mythology. Zeus.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got those guys, but I'm like, but the Christian stuff and the Muslim stuff they stay away from. Which I understand. They don't want a big protest on their hands. But yeah, God actually showed up one time in Marvel Comics in all the history, and it was to have a conversation with Peter Parker.
I have a question.
I thought he popped up with Fantastic Four and Doctor Strange, though.
My thing with that though is like, that's one thing. Even me, I'm 37, but as a comic book fan, man, I hate when they like do that. Like, I don't want to read a comic book. Like, if I want to read a Christian comic book, like I'd pick it up at church, I get just saying what he said in the argument. I'm sorry, it might have threw me off a little bit. I feel like comic books should be an escape, man. I really hate how the comic book industry has to have so much political stuff in it because it's supposed to be an escape. You're supposed to be able to hop in a comic book and escape from reality.
I agree with you 100% because that's like same thing when I say like real life, like you work or stuff goes on in the real world. Like I love my anime, I love my fictional or fan made shows, which Andrew was saying earlier, like with Jedi Mike, like the Hollywood movies not going nowhere. I'm pretty much leaning to the fact that I think it's gonna be more fan made movies gonna be being more produced than anything else. And I give an example like Tressa on Netflix. That's another one for you too. It was a Multi or somebody else. Multi Black Pharaoh and Empress. So that's another one. It's actually a Filipino anime based on their mythological creatures in the Philippines, and that was actually pretty much because of them, like their money over the film. I didn't know they did comics in the Philippines, but they do, and it ended up turning out to a show on Netflix called Trust. It means 13. So that was a pretty good one. So I think a lot of the fan made stuff is actually going to be more involving. That's my prediction for the future. Oh yeah. And somehow I think they're going to like just do more because what I noticed too also, Jedi Mike could chime in that one down the line. But I think a lot of the actors is going to be more of like, hey, I don't care about the acting part. I could just stick to the voiceovers and do the anime. So, because I've been noticing a lot of them. I didn't even know he sent the link, so I'm check that out.
Yeah,
so I didn't know
that link is to this guy Comics Explained, Rob from Comics Explained.
Yes, Rob is really good.
He did a review of Spider-Man Meeting God, the one above all, and so I went and found the video and I just posted it in the chat.
Okay.
It's like my thing with that is like why are people mad about Spider-Man fighting one above all if he's a character?
He didn't fight him. Like, I mean, they didn't fight or anything. Like, he just kind of showed up and said, "Hey, Peter, what's up?" He looks like this guy.
Look at God.
Hold on, he showed this guy who looks like a bum, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know who you are, dude." He's like, "Come on, Peter, you know who I am." And he kind of just emanates this light, and he just lets Peter feel his presence for a bit, and Peter knows who it is, right? And they just had a conversation, So
what was the context of the video? Is my question.
Well, he was explaining how when Peter met the one above all, because Peter was like, not that he was depressed, he was just like, okay, what's the point of all this? This is ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like, I catch a criminal, put him in jail, but then they get right back out and do the same thing. Why do people do that? Why do evil people just do bad things when they get turned up? He had a bunch of life questions, right? And I think Peter was going to give up because he didn't see a point in it anymore. He's going to give up being Spider-Man. He didn't see the point and just let the chips fall where they may. So God shows up and just has and they had lunch, kind of. You know what I'm saying? They sat down and had lunch and everything. They had like burgers and fries. Like, I mean, it was a really insightful conversation. It really was. It was very well written. So I mean, I just put the link to it down there so people can check it out at their leisure.
My question is, why? I don't know. What was the focal point of that video? Like, was it like more like a Christian thing? Like,
no, not at all. It was still very much a Marvel thing. You know what I'm saying? It had
no.
Really
I'm talking about
Christianity.
I'm talking about the content creator. He said he had a video about when Spider-Man met the one people.
Oh yeah, he just reviews comic books, and he's brilliant at it. Yeah,
okay.
I tell you what, when you watch that video, it's gonna make you want to go back and watch more of his.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He just reviews comic books. He's not a Christian. He's not on some religious
the
religious tip, but he just reviews comic books, and that's one that he reviewed at that time. I
noticed that recently a lot of people have been bringing up that reference, and I didn't know if it was because like we're about to go back into political season. I'm like, no, don't bring Spider-Man into it.
This is actually a old one, because the same thing I could say about Wolverine, because when it was one where Wolverine goes to hell and he meets his father, so he went through a whole thing, and then but while his soul was going through torment outside the real world, one of the demons actually was taking over his body, spitting out fire. But that's pretty much an old one. It's like little stuff like that. Everybody always like more layers, more elements, more elements. Like, for example, Batman. They had an actual novel writing on, because like, for example, when Andy said about the psyches and stuff, villains and heroes, this Batman / versus Bruce Wayne, they had a whole novel on the personality personas with Batman and Bruce Wayne. And then they had another one with was it Dr. Hugo Strange, where Dr. Hugo Strange actually analyzes Batman first, and then when he finds out who Bruce Wayne is, it has another analyzation of him too. Me and the homegirl, we pretty much broke that down. That's a whole nother conversation on that one too. Then they had one about the Mandro said, that the hero development of Peter Parker. Like, it was many times he was just wanting to fall apart, just like give it up. But before he met and had the conversation to quote unquote the God, it was what's her name? The Madam Web was one.
Right.
It was Nick Fury's another one. It was all these other entities were pretty much giving him like the shoulder bump, like, okay, you got to just keep moving, keep going. And now you got the God. And for him, that's like the perfect opportunity. If he pop up right here, you're gonna want to ask him all the questions. So that just made a lot of good conversation, and relatable to anybody. Like, oh wow, it's pretty much like this. And Mandro can correct me. It's kind of like when you have that moment when you either get the genie in the bottle. How would you handle that? Or if the Almighty literally appears in your face, how would you handle that situation? And I think Peter, with that story, Peter handled it perfectly, because he wasn't like asking like the most selfish questions. He went through some stuff like this time to really ask the real questions. It was a
relatable panel. Yeah, I love that era of Spider-Man personally. Just me picking. My bad, man, Drew.
No, you good. It's a conversation. It's a conversation. No, you're good. It's a conversation.
Well, before I go, since I never really get to talk to a bunch of fellow nerds, I got one more question. I gotta go. Or more ladies gonna stab me. Who has the worst rogues gallery?
Who has the worst gallery?
Who has the worst set of villains against them as a hero? Like Batman has all the villains in Gotham. Superman has all the villains in Metropolis.
I'm gonna go with for me. I'm gonna go with the Flash villains, but I love them because they stick to a code. But moving forward with the comics, well, I've always thought. Well, you know what? Is yes or no? I'm gonna say the rogues for the Flash, because I actually play the game. DC Universe is an MMO for PlayStation.
Right.
Top Weather Wizards. I want to say Captain Cold, but they made him actually smart in what he is, because he's a tactician.
Right.
But I'll say the rest of them because they stick to
Mirror Master.
Oh, Mirror Master, another one. He's a goofball. But yeah, thank you, Marcus. Mirror Master, Top, and Weather Wizard. Weather Wizard's most three goofiest ones out of the Rogue. For Batman, it pretty much is the Penguin. It was somebody else. Him and Superman.
Don't forget the condiment king.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah. And the kite. Yeah, thank you. I'm done. Yes.
Okay.
I can see that.
Before I go, my favorite rogue gallery in all of comics, I think he has the wildest rogues gallery is Logan. Logan has the wildest rogues gallery, dog, from Lady Deathstrike, Omega Red, Sabretooth, Cyber, his own kid, Omega Red, his own kid, Wolverine, the Reavers. Wolverine had some pretty messed up villains, man. And I like that he always faced him. He always got tore up and came back. I thought that was really cool. Like, even if he lost, Wolverine, you spin the block. He'd be like, yo, remember last time? Sabretooth, this time.
His prep time is so weird. His prep time is so weird from Batman, only because he got the healing factor. If Batman got prep time, first go, Batman could take care of the business. Wolverine takes the butt whipping, comes back the second time, then wins the fight. Like, he got the weirdest prep time ever.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead.
Don't forget the Berserker Rage, though.
Berserker Rage. Yeah, because there's times where he snaps off and can't control it. That's why I think it's cool, because But
that goes back to the inner demon that he has, I think. It's
Yeah, that's why I liked him, because like, my second favorite villain, probably across like pop culture, would be like Akuma from Street Fighter.
I love Akuma.
You know? But yeah, I think Logan had the hardest rogues gallery, in my opinion, because the Mega Red fight alone, like in the animated series, was gangster. And then even in the comic books, it was gangster. It's never like a horrible panel, you know?
I agree.
Just in my opinion.
Okay, I appreciate that, man. And I'm gonna pass that question on to everybody else, as far as the rogue fighters or the heroes. That's a good one. You got anything else before you jump off on Jumpy?
Nah, my old lady's gonna punch me in the neck, man.
Yeah,
she heard me talking about comic. She heard me talking about comic books, and I just like literally like picked up a stack. I got a sort. I was like, uh-oh. But yeah, man, I'm a super comic book nerd, so I need to go in, or I won't get any cheeks tonight. And I need cheeks tonight, man. You know.
You conquer that quest, sir. Conquer that quest.
Yeah, but I want
to. Whenever you need a condiment king, you let me know.
Oh my god, yeah. Now Batman does have some wacky villains, dude.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
Right.
He's got some wacky ones too. Like you said Condiment King. That's an actual villain.
Yeah.
Batman's rogues gallery.
Mm-hmm. The only reason why
Polka Dot Man.
I don't know, because you know what, the way they portrayed him in Suicide Squad when they did the second one, I liked how they showed Polka Dot Man there, because bro, when he's picturing his mom, that was disturbing.
Oh shit!
All right, so we're not trying to let him get in trouble with the missus. So question. So the answer to Jumpy's question about who you pick the rogues for the heroes, Wally, Mandrill, Marcus. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
On what?
You mind asking the question again, Jumpy? Because I don't want to butcher it.
No, I said who has the worst rogues gallery? Like, who has the best villains? One character.
You saying the best villains or the worst villains?
Like the worst.
The worst.
Like the baddest of the bad.
I mean, like the baddest of the bad. Like, you wouldn't want to go through this gauntlet. Because I personally wouldn't want to face Sabretooth, Cyber, Omega Red. Imagine what type of powers besides Wolverine you'd have to deal with, like an Omega Red, right? That's why I picked Logan. But I can also understand Batman too, because Batman has Deadshot, Deathstroke, Joker, Killer Croc, Polka Dot Man. You know, and I feel like that. But go ahead.
I would say the Hulk. I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, why would you want to fight like freaking Wendigo, the Abomination, Red Hulk, Fing Fang Foom, reality itself. Like you really
his family, and we're talking about the inbred ones.
Yeah. If you want to include all that, yeah. I mean, like that's and if we're talking really like real talk, I mean, you got the Fantastic Four. If we're going to go with groups, they have a wicked Rose Gallery, man.
Oh yeah, I never denied the fact they have a very
that wish that raised a baby for like a day. That was one.
Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom.
And Doctor Doom is like the greatest. Now he's like the greatest villain ever.
That's my opinion. What did I say? My villain was Doctor Doom. I feel like he's the quintessential villain.
He literally created when the Old Man Logan. He pretty much had like planets that he
created one when he had the Infinity Gauntlet. Like he had those powers.
He made a Utopia.
Yeah, he created. It was like War World. He created that or Battle World or whatever he called it. And then like you had T'Challa. He found an Infinity Gauntlet, but it only worked in the universes that it was originally from. Like the pieces of the universe that Infinity Gauntlet with all the Infinity Stones was originally from, it would work there. But none of the pieces of the world where those pieces were from a different universe, like it was wicked, man. Like that's yeah. When Doctor Doom get the powers of the Beyonders, it was ridiculous. Yeah. But
yeah, I mean, Doctor Doom always has always been. He was even in the Illuminati with Xavier and
but the ego of his, he had to go.
Thank you. That's his only problem.
He had to go. Yes. Yeah, his ego is the only problem.
That's his only problem.
Yeah,
but he's the most. But for him to be human, he's like so smart. He literally can like he had the power of cosmic for one time.
Yeah, he did once.
He had Odin's power too.
And the fact
he punched Thanos' spine out, bro. He punched Thanos' spine out, bro.
Like I like he kind of gave Hulk like he made the Hulk think twice one time when they went toe to toe against each other.
Yeah, and he caught. And I hate. Never mind. I ain't gonna say this. Rest in peace, Chad Boseman. My blackness won't allow me to say that, man. But I could tell without a. I was gonna say he served Black Panther in a comic book too.
Yeah,
he served T'Challa.
To me, that is the greatest comic book villain ever of all time. Like I mean, think about it. He's a scientist plus a leader of his own nation. Has a better suit, and he's a wizard sometimes, kind of. But like he's got everything, and he's super genius.
But I like it because he always had to work for it. Like even when he got kicked, like they should have been a Fantastic Five, low key, and they were like,
that wasn't ever gonna happen.
You know what I mean? Like, I think the fact that Reed was always worried about him taking his woman was funny to me. I think that Dr. Doom had like some really cool fights across Marvel. Man. But I could tell Mandrell's buff without his avatar, no homo, because he said Hulk. And all buff niggas be like Hulk.
Well, yeah, that was my favorite character, even as a child. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. And, it was him and Captain America were my favorite too. But
Captain America used to be my favorite too.
No, mine was Spider-Man, just because I like how I don't know, Stan Lee had a special reach to the younger generation, where it's like it wasn't the hero first, it was the human being, the kid first, understanding what it took to be a hero, and then trying to balance the two. So you saw those was a lot of messages. But before Spider-Man was like, you had the G.I. Joes and He-Man. But for me, that wasn't realistic because like clearly I'm not an army kid. Clearly I don't have, I could whip out a stick behind my back and like scream, for the power of Grayskull, but I know I can't pick up a boulder. So I had like at least some kind of common sense growing up. So, but when I saw other little characters like Spider-Man and around that little time, I said, yeah, this more suits me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Even the ones like, like you can't be a hero, you can't take on every fight, but you can at least learn how to adapt to the situation, learn how to have conversation with certain people, or just learn just to be not to have some fights. You just can't have a conversation with most people. It's just best to walk away from some people. So
yeah. Right. I like that Spider-Man used to always have that rivalry with Logan. That was always funny to me. That they always are trying to kill each other or one up each other in combat.
Yeah, and Spider-Man caught him in between the vertebrae. That's how he hurt his neck. He hurt Wolverine's neck. He said, "Yeah, your bones might be covered in that stuff, but you still got gaps in the vertebrae." Spider-Man figured that out quick too. That's what got me, how quickly he thought of that. You know, yeah, Wolverine didn't know what the hell's going on. He paralyzed him for a few seconds. Boom! Your boy Logan just hit the ground, poof, right on his face. What the hell? Then the healing effect, the healing effect kicks in, and
which still kills with Wolverine. Like out of all the years, because he's pretty much like easily over 100 years old. He trained with samurai and all these different types of armies coming. I was like, bro, you're still trying to be a brawler with claws. Like you got to have some kind of skill sets coming in with most people, especially with like people like Spider-Man, because Spider-Man at least gonna think before he start attacking.
Yeah. He was pretty.
Hold on, we gotta save another life. Shout out to Jay the Informant. Jay the Informant said, I haven't seen the film. I have HBO Max. Sorry, sir. They transformed it now. It was HBO Max. Then it was it was HBO. Then HBO Max. You're correct. Now they changed it to Max, so just Max now. So HBO doing what they want to do. 2, I recommend you, sir, do not go see the Flash movie. It will not only destroy brain cells, it will distort your reality of the world that you actually live in. Also, it will put you in a state of shock. So I'm trying to help everybody I can right now. We got 10 more minutes before we close out. So again, trying to save as much lives as we can. So the Flash movie isn't a movie. It is free on Max. But if you do choose to see it, I can't stop you. It's all adults. Shout out to America. Freedom of speech, all the good stuff. I recommend.
If you don't watch it, you're a survivor.
Yes, you're a survivor if you do watch it. Thank you, Marcus. So if you do watch it, I advise you to go ahead and fast forward it all the way up to the part where they go to visit OG Batman. We got the long hair and the beards. Watch it from there. Go all the way to the ending when OG Batman passed away for the second time. Then stop the movie. That's as far as you should go, sir. Don't watch any no further. No more beginning. If you do, I warned you. And we will leave it with that. So
you only got 10 more minutes.
Just to answer Johnny's question real quick, I do think that the best rogue gallery, Grape already took it out of my mouth with Spider-Man, but I'm going to just mention just the Avengers when they had their rogue gallery of villains, because I know it could be a cop-out to say, but, they did have a good laundry list of villains and team-ups. You have the Dark Avengers, you have you have the Masters of Evil. You have those
Serpent Society.
Yeah, you have them, and then you have
Hydra.
They were not Hydra. Well, yeah, they're Hydra's always been historically known, but who was that Great Pill? It was like they were like a group of villains, but they were like I can't put my name. I can't put like
the Avengers.
Kinda, yeah. Like they're kind of like the anti-Avengers, but they were. Dang it.
The Thunderbolts.
There you go. Thank you, Thunderbolts.
Yeah. Thunderbolts.
Like there was a time where they fought each other, right? In the comics, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the Thunderbolt Initiative was where they wiped out and took their suits. Like that's where we got Iron Patriot. Norman Osborn pulled up from that.
Oh yeah, he's another one.
That was fallout from the death of Captain America, right? During the Human Registration Act.
I think so, but he's another one. He's another one with ego too. Like it's weird. Like he think he's smart, but he really not that smart, and he'll hire intelligent thugs to do his work, and then they'll go left because at the end of the day, they low key hate him. Like that ain't make no sense. Like at least with Lex Luthor, smart enough to know I'm hiring you, but at the same time I got three leverages against you, maybe 5, and you're gonna think twice before even getting past me. Heck, when he even cloned the Superman, he's like, "Yo, I got a kryptonite lead found in your skull, and I will literally blow that sucker off if you even look at me wrong." Heck, he even had him in with a red sun room, just taking his frustration out in the real Superman, beating the clone up from time to time. So. Yeah, the Patriot. The Patriot. Yeah, but he's always been like that. But I do respect his gangster though, because he actually was one of the most powerful beings out there. Because as I said, when you want to move forward in the world, Lex Luthor's that guy. Shout to him. Somebody said, yeah, exactly. Multi, say kill Al. Like you just kept pounding on him with kryptonite, like the gloves on. Just keep beating on him. I was like, Jesus, man, you need to. He's
He
more
let
like
that go.
he need a woman in his life. That's my only solution for him. He need a woman in his life.
He wanted the woman to look like Clark.
I don't know, man. He had real issues. He had real issues. All right, we got like 6 minutes. This has been a good one. I'm gonna go ahead and vent a little bit more frustrations, and we'll get final thoughts. So again, the movie was boo boo. Didn't like the part of the CGI with the fighting at the end. The two Barry Allen's just so goofy for me. He was just doing goofy stuff. Even when he phased through the other wall to get the beers for the chick. I'm not saying he had to be cool, but he even like he knew the beer was shaking and he popped the top off. The beer fell out and then spilled on his hands, and then he gonna shake his hands all kind of weird. Like I'm literally watching all this stuff, Matt Drill, and I'm like, yo, why do you even put him up there? Why did like a director like, look, you're doing too much? Like I never seen him in any other movies or shows, so it's like, why did he become a Hollywood superstar? Like, who is this guy? I don't know him. And then after the movie, he appeared somewhere else. I can't remember the name of it, and I really don't even care at this point. Like, I just don't care. When I thought he was who I thought he was, which everybody agreed he was on the WB version of it, that kind of threw me off a little bit more. Like when you try to get your mindset onto one thing in a movie, you see something else like, oh, well, maybe they're referencing from the WB and that's going to be their source code for it. Like, nope, it's maybe a smidgen from the comic. There's like, oh, maybe going to be a little bit source for the comics, and nope, it's for something they just made up out the air. Then I don't want to put too much on play the race card, but like his mom was like just clearly Latino, but he clearly just like the typical white kid, and his dad is clearly the white guy. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Like we're throwing in a lot of ethnical, everything in here. Like we just throw all the type of spices in this bad boy, and then the character just was overdoing goofy for me. Just a lot of overdoing goofy, and I'm just focusing on him as an actor. It doesn't work for me. Like I said, I feel like they was focusing on one side demographic of people. Or just an audience, excuse me, I say people, audience. And I think they were trying to make it more kid friendly, but you can't with a DC or Marvel film. Like somebody's gonna either pass out, somebody's gonna is there some violence, there's gonna be some bloodshed. Yeah, too much CGI for my taste. Heck, I didn't even know until after the Justice League movie before Snyder Cut actually brought it back to life, where Superman's mustache was a CGI. They had to CGI his mustache off. Like, we're really doing this. Like, yeah. So, what else? I'm gonna get my frustration out of the movie. Oh, the hands and running, because that was a scene too. When he runs, when he loses power, which I thought was done. Oh, that was thank you. That was it. When he hooked up the other Barry to get his powers. To get him the powers, and the lightning bolt came through the chemistry, hit him, then hit the other one. I'm going to be honest. One should just like shouldn't even came back to life. Like that didn't make any sense. Both of them got hit with the lightning. The chemicals fell on the other guy, the main Flash, but it didn't really fall on the second guy. But the lightning hit him, went through him to hit the other one. That didn't make no sense at all. Then when he wanted to redo the whole project to get his powers back, like on the Paradox one with Bruce Wayne's father, who was Batman, then moving forward, you're in the cave and somehow mysteriously there's a hole all the way deep through a cave now for the lightning bolt, and then we got the bat car, we got the bat cycle, we got the bat plane, but all of a sudden there's a bat kite. Make that make sense. Then somehow there's a huge hole where the kite is all the way up in the air, and then he repeats the experiment so he can get his powers. The lightning hits it, and I said, "Oh snap, this is really working." And then the lightning hits. He pretty much just about to fall out and get deleted. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the Latino Supergirl pops up. Like, who is he? I'll help him. Okay, flies him up in the sky now. And I'm like, why are you taking him up there? Are you gonna like direct the lightning again because lightning doesn't strike twice. So we're gonna redirect the lightning, and then when she's taking him up in the sky, I'm like, don't you need the chemicals too? Like, wouldn't that make more sense? Like, if you're gonna scoop him up, put all the chemicals on him, and then come up there. But I guess because the chemicals hit, like it was too much. Was no sense there for me. So then all of a sudden she shot up in the sky and the lightning. I really would have loved to see that part because even Superman can't take a good hit. Like if lightning actually struck him, he at least twinge a little bit. So I would have loved to see the lightning bolt had to just hit him. It would have hit her too, just like it hit the two Barrys. Yeah. So it's trash. Like I can't. Everything about it is like, I don't know. I'm and then just to piggyback off Wally said, I think pretty much Wally maybe was under influence, so using some kind of libations a little bit to say that the movie was a 7. But that's my opinion. I think it should have been a solid 3, maybe a comfortable 5, for Wally.
That's pushing it.
He is a rusty gear somewhere, to get it to 5, but it never should be existing. So it should be a solid 3, just because of the chunk in the middle with the OG Batman. And then somehow they brought the other Batman. And he's like, "You're not Bruce Wayne." I'm like, why is he even here? And then when they show all the multiverses collide, they even show what's his name?
Nick Cage.
Yeah, Nick Cage and Superman's like, what the?
Because that was what Tim Burton was going to direct back then, but
they never did anything with any of those characters.
Exactly. So it's like, why even break him out?
Oh, they showed up the Christopher Reeve Superman. I would rather see him over all of the rest of them.
Yes,
him and Henry Cavill. But these characters showed up. Yeah, I'm like, Mike. Yeah, you saw them, but they didn't do anything. They did nothing with those characters. They just showed up and left, and that was literally it. You saw their faces. Done. I mean, that's what it was. And I'm gonna go to sleep, fellas.
Yeah, we're closing. No,
I have to wake up at 4:30 a.m. and go to the gym and find something to do to celebrate my birthday, I guess.
You're a free man.
Happy early birthday.
You serve that country well. Trust me, you can find something to do. Don't act like that now. Don't act like that. You got plenty of options.
You'll probably end up on another stream later today, so it don't matter.
Like Mark is watching all of us from the clouds.
Yeah, I'm watching silently and quietly, sir, from the clouds.
Yeah, man, that shit was crazy. I got into a debate with some clowns on Fight Club, and I'm like, okay, it's amazing. The only combat veteran on the platform, and you're not gonna take my advice. They tried to tell me there's no morality in war. I'm like, yes, there is. No, it's not. What's about? Is the mission first or morality? I said the mission comes first, but how are you going to complete that mission? You're going to have to make some decisions. Your decisions are going to be based on morals in some shape, form, or fashion. And what are you going to do? Just annihilate everyone in your way? No. That's immoral.
That's why I say, even with Jedi, like I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna. You're that guy. So if you're that guy at that moment for the top of the conversation, why are you questioning that guy?
Yeah, why are you
questioning
me? I was like, okay, I was like, no, morality is not on the battlefield. I'm like, okay, none of you have any battle experience. Okay, my thing is, you don't want to do anything to piss off the locals, because if you don't make moral decisions, the locals are gonna look at you and they're gonna hate you, and you're gonna get a quick crash course in the fact that. Doesn't matter your equipment, doesn't matter your level of training, overwhelming force is overwhelming force.
Uh-huh.
So if you get over there with the idea that, well, morals don't matter here, okay, you better learn it.
Otherwise, I think I think he a passport, bro. That's probably why he argued with you.
It wasn't just him. It was a bunch of people in that panel arguing with me. The thing is, most
y'all
of them
gotta fill me in the back at the end of this. Fill me in.
And most of them hadn't even served in the military at all, let alone have any combat experience. I was like, okay, y'all.
Yeah, I can't talk to you. I can't.
Right, I can't have this conversation. You're not gonna understand it.
It's a chick. It's a chick on. Her name is Janelle Gordon. She's the new Red Pill grifter. So I'm pretty much just like I'm coming at her a little bit. But she was on Destiny. It's like I guess another part 3. So she tried to play the girl card with like, let me get another guy to argue for me while I'm there at Destiny. But she already fed him a bunch of lies. So when he got there, he wasn't stupid. So he's like asking questions, trying to figure out the whole situation. So he was very balanced. So she she made a hint of claiming that she was in the service, but her personal appearance didn't seem like it. And then Destiny brought up something about he got email saying that she wasn't. And then she kind of flipped. But it's like it's those little things that kind of that's telling for me that you don't have the qualification and skill set, because every person I met, like you, Wes, my boy Deuce, a few of us on not Jedi Mike's Jay Takashi stream, because it was pretty much a whole bunch of y'all veterans there from different branches. But every one of y'all have pretty much, even my older brother, like all y'all got the same like reality of how the world should be when y'all come out versus when y'all go in. And for some reason, I don't think her head is on that same plateau. So that's why I thought she was hardcore lying about that. But yeah, but when you get in some spaces, man, if they want to nitpick or argue about it, you already know how to go with that one. You already know how to go with that one. But I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say goodnight to everybody. I appreciate everybody for coming on through. It was pretty much just a chill stream. It's pretty much I guess a into part 2 from Jedi Mike. Me and Wally was in the chat, and I told him that I was gonna go ahead and give my 2 cents about the movie. I don't know. I'll just leave it up for a minute, but I'll just make it private until I get monetized, and I'll put in members only, because I can do that. But yeah, I appreciate everybody for coming on through, supporting and their 2 cents. Shout out to Engine Knight for coming through. Shout out to LTTV for I'm not gonna mess up his name because he might call me out on his panel. I'm not gonna mess up his name. So tomorrow, 8 p.m. Central Time, we're gonna have the Trump conversation. Madrid are gonna be here for it. 8 p.m. Central Time. Please don't make me chase y'all guys down. Then Wednesday, we're gonna have Star Wars, and I reach out to the gang about that. Whether you're Jedi or Sith, you come on through to Red Lipstick Vibes, and we'll hash it out there. And that's pretty much it. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming through. Where's that outro? So we go home. Boom.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see. I'm going to show them a world without you. A world without rules and controls, without borders or boundaries. A world where anything is possible. Where we go from there is a choice I leave to you.